In today's news, once again the notorious XRP riddlers, Mr. Paul and also the bearable bull have come out with some very bullish XRP predictions. How May this month is the month you can just sit back, relax, grab some popcorn and just watch what is incoming to XRP. This is going to be the month to remember. An XRP explosion is scheduled and the proof is in the pudding, because not just Trump has doubled down and confirmed again that Swift will be no more and it will be replaced with crypto. We have leading financial institutions confirming it will be XRP to replace Swift, as well as Visa, which is nuts. XRP is going to become the central backbone for the financial system. We are in a prime position right now. So watch closely to this video and watch closely as the giant blazing sun points to May this month being the month Ripple solidifies its status as the Swift replacement, the Swift alternative. We can see here from Smoke it has already been documented that there are alternatives to Swift, although be it not many, the choice is limited, but the candidates include internet payment networks such as Ripple. In fact, the first major financial institutions are already using the system in a test run. Confirmation right there, they're already running off Ripple and XRP. In fact, the major institutions include the likes of Morgan Stanley, for example. We can see here in this research document that Morgan Stanley stated that adopting Ripple-like payment systems could shorten settlement periods, speed up transactions, and reduce the risk of fraud. Morgan Stanley considers Ripple, therefore XRP, to be a leading international payment alternative to Swift, the Swift replacement, if you will. But the fact is, the truth of the matter being, it is so much more bullish than that. As we can see in this webinar, Ripple and XRP aren't just replacing Swift and even Visa. No, those TradFi giants, payments giants systems, they are upgrading, integrating with Ripple and XRP. Take a listen.
There are many use cases now, very successful investment use cases, and I won't go through these in detail other than to say very briefly that there are good reasons why a lot of value is being captured. So if you look at number one, as I already mentioned, we need infrastructure to allow for the digitalization of finance and commerce, and that's being created by companies with names like Anchorage and Fireblocks and Kraken and so on. And these are digital custodians or wallets or marketplaces, and we're investors in all of those, are ones that we show as examples here. In terms of monies and commodities and assets, the same thing is true. We're taking things like Swift or Visa or MasterCard, and we're upgrading them into digital equivalents, which have names like Ripple or Yellow Card. And we're digitalizing monies like the US dollar into things like Tether and Circle, and we're an investor in Tether and Circle as well. At the commodity level, we can take gold, and you can buy and sell gold physically or through derivatives like ETFs. But we're now tokenizing gold, so you can buy and sell gold over digital wallets and digital infrastructure with things like Pax Gold. So we can do it with traditional commodities. Of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum are new to the world commodities, and we were early investors in them as well. And then you can do it with any other asset. So we can actually take any asset, like the example here, a money market fund from BlackRock. We can tokenize that and make that money market fund called BIDL be available in digital infrastructure anywhere in the world 24/7. And that's why BlackRock's so excited by the tokenization of other real world assets.
This comes with even more bullish news as Visa is expanding more into the blockchain space, as they just launched crypto stablecoin payments in Latin America. Likely, I'm sure Ripple would have been a key part of that. So again, their adoption is expanding more and more, and we're getting more accelerated behavior and adoption in crypto. And to touch on, Swift and Visa upgrading into Ripple and XRP, well, think about it. Did you know Swift, the current payment system, handles over $1 quadrillion in transactions a year? Visa is the biggest payment provider across the globe, processing billions of dollars. So just envision with these two payment giants upgrading themselves, integrating into Ripple and XRP. Should Ripple be able to take just a fraction of that liquidity, say 10% for example, you're looking at over $100 trillion in transactions happening on the XRP ledger and RippleNet a year. That sort of volume will drive more demand, more adoption of XRP, and in my belief, quite similarly, just the math says it's going to guarantee an explosion in the price of XRP. And that is further elevated by smart money waking up as Eric Trump reconfirms again Swift is broken and it will be replaced with crypto. Therefore, it will be replaced with XRP. These are the catalysts and bombshells we are seeing and witnessing on the first day of May. Mr. Paul and the Bearable Bull, the Riddlers, who are very weirdly accurate in their predictions, have been telling us what is incoming. The Great Reset, the wealth transfer, is closer than ever before. And you can learn much more before the time runs out here in the VIP group at wop.com/coin-factory. From institutional alpha research documents, trading courses, trade alerts, and so much more is incoming. We have a limited time offer, a 7-day free trial as well. So if you are interested, you find the link down below down in the description. Come and check us out, because one by one, the smart money, they're waking up. The TradFis, the governmental figures, the politicians, all the smart money, they are waking up now and speaking out now on what is incoming. That's the big factor. Beforehand, behind the scenes, quiet. Now, they are saying it to face value what is incoming for us. This is our only chance to capitalize on the opportunity in front of us before it's too late and they take over the space. Listen to what Eric Trump had to say in today's Token 2049 event in Dubai.
It's hard to move. It's really only accessible, at least on a large scale to kind of very few. It's very static in terms of location. Then all of a sudden you go to, cryptocurrencies, which is immediately liquid, easy to move, accessible to anyone. And you actually realize that cryptocurrencies become the greatest hedge in the world to kind of hard assets. But what it made me also realize is how absolutely antiquated and broken the modern financial system is.
Now, this is interesting for me for a number of reasons, because again, it confirms what TradFi financial institutions have been saying about Ripple and XRP being the alternative to Swift, but also because of this event that was held in Dubai, Ripple is actually the first blockchain-enabled payment service provider licensed by the Dubai Financial Services Authority, by DFSA. So Ripple are already leading in this rapidly expanding market in Dubai, where Eric Trump gave this talk, preaching what Ripple CEOs and CTOs and leading members have been preaching for years, that crypto is taking over the financial space, and Ripple are the front runners for that as well. It's also funny how this bombshell here and these bombshells here are all coming out just 48 hours after the US Department of Treasury published a document recognizing and acknowledging Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin as a giant alongside USDT, Tether, and USDC Circle. And Ripple tried to buy Circle yesterday as well, all of which we covered in yesterday's video actually, but I re-highlight that again because earlier today, in some more bullish news, the Stablecoin Act was introduced on the Senate floor. Huge news. We can listen here in this interview from Republican French Hill, where he states that we are going to get these regulatory bills done, and seemingly done very soon. Take a listen again.
Well, first, I want the United States to lead in this financial technology arena like we've led in other technological innovations and adaptations over many years in the past, whether it's in communications technology or the foundation of the internet, or in things as simple as the development of the smartphone. But if we don't get the rules right, we drive that innovation offshore into other jurisdictions, and the venture capital and the venture capitalists follow that innovation out. So if we want to make sure that we do it right, we need the right, I heard the commissioner use the term fit for purpose. I appreciate her copying our bill name last year on that subject. Fit for purpose regulation inside the digital asset space is critical. Because when you go to a peer-to-peer system, a more decentralized system, you've got to rewrite the rules and supervision covering the plumbing, because since 1930, we've done the reverse. We've allowed French to do business with Tim, and we do that through an intermediary. It might be a title company, it might be a broker-dealer, it might be a bank, it might be a custodian, it might be a real estate agent, but we have these intermediaries, and we then set the regulations for them, and they work to police our work between each other. So when you go to a more decentralized finance, that responsibility shifts to the buyer and seller more directly and is a lighter touch on that intermediary. So we are trying to draft those rules. 2 bills, making progress. We did this in the last Congress, but now we're poised to pass these pieces of legislation in this Congress. First is a dollar-backed stablecoin rule under federal law. Bill Hagerty, my classmate at Vandy, has introduced that bill in the Senate. It's gone through a Senate markup. It had excellent bipartisan support. We marked up our version of that bill, the Stable Act, in the House a couple of weeks later. We tried to harmonize those drafts as closely as we could. And the House bill also got bipartisan support. If we think that the future of global payments is going to have a tokenized payment on a blockchain rail, then you need a dollar-backed stablecoin under U.S. law, under U.S. supervision, with high standards of quality and disclosure and auditing to set the global standard that I think will really improve the trust in that product. Secondly, if I have a dollar-backed stablecoin, all I have is an item. I have a tokenized payment concept, but where would you use it? How would you store it? How would Barclays serve as a custodian for it? How could someone use it to buy a digital asset or a regular asset out in the marketplace? And so the second bill that we're working on with the Senate, with Senator Lummis from Wyoming, Senator Gillibrand from New York, Senator Scott, our great chairman in the Senate, and our team in the House, including my good friend Brian Stile from Wisconsin, is a market framework bill. We passed this last summer. It was called Fit for Purpose, the Fit 21 Act, got 71 Democratic votes across the House floor, very bipartisan. We're going to essentially take on that market regulatory framework bill here in the month of May, and we will work to pass that bill. These two bills are essential to be passed. President Trump has asked us to put both of these bills on his desk before the August recess, and we're working mightily on a bicameral basis, on a bipartisan basis, and working with David Sachs, Donald Trump's artificial intelligence and digital asset advisor, to get this done, and we're going to get it done.
So simply put, this means we are closer than ever to seeing institutional capital flood into crypto, seeing the market explode in value. Bitcoin and especially XRP will see them enter through stablecoins, their adoption through the RLUSD, as Ripple again is the best alternative to the SWIFT system. So once more, again, just sit back, relax, and with your popcorn and watch how May unfolds for XRP. XRP is scheduled to explode, and the RLUSD stablecoin is just one avenue or point of entry for XRP adoption. The main one, though, at least the early adoption one, the biggest one, will be ETFs. Dan Tapiro, 10T Holdings founder, confirmed in this CoinDesk interview how there are quite a few people anticipating the XRP ETFs, meaning institutions are eager for their approval.
I am by no means a big XRP guy, but I do respect it for its ability to survive. And I think what it's turned itself into, the company, Ripple, has turned itself into, in a way, a holding company, a conglomerate of assets within the digital asset ecosystem. So I think there's value there, and I think there probably are quite a few people anticipating the XRP ETF, lasting also because it's made in America now. So I think, and you have to, take your hat off to Brad Garlinghouse for having gotten involved with Trump and still very involved, and I think has done a lot of hard work for the space itself, doing battle with the previous SEC administration.
Now, the SEC did actually recently delay some of the XRP ETF filings, but that doesn't change the mission. The mission has not changed in the slightest. May is still going to be a month to remember, and to find out more on why and what's coming to the space, come check out the VIP group as always. But remember, don't look short term, think long term, and I'll see you in the next one.